Hi, the topic today is how to be highly effective, and I'm focusing on purpose. Purpose is very, very important because your purpose is like an idea whose time has come. An idea whose time has come, nobody can stop it. That is the same thing like your purpose. So we've been tapped, we've been chosen by God to do something specific, something particular, something unique, best fitted for us to execute it here on earth. We are an idea God has in his mind. And that idea comes in two legs, like you and I. God has released us at this very dispensation to do a particular thing. So that gives you a purpose. That summarizes your purpose. So that's your idea. You are that an idea nobody can stop. The only person who can stop that idea is you. So you've been launched, you've been released to do something, best fitted for you, best equipped. You are best equipped, you've been tapped to do this very thing. But sadly, 90% of us don't do it. More than 90% of us don't have idea about what purpose is. So your purpose is very, very important. Because that is why everybody is always talking about purpose. Because if you capture your purpose, you will understand that you are unique, you are special, and God released you to do something here. But sadly, on coming here, you are found wanted. You're on coming here, you disappear. It's like somebody that was told to go and change the political landscape. On getting there, the political landscape changed the person. So on coming here, we forgot our purpose. So that is why we are talking about purpose day in, day out. Because once you capture your purpose, you are no longer going to be subject to manipulation. You go straight forward. You go immediately to execute your mission. You go straight to what God asks you to do here. Because God is not joking. Imagine the energy that you are consuming, the food you are consuming, things, that you are using today. Do you think God made it so that you come here and relax and go? There is a purpose. God is a God of purpose. And he himself demonstrated that. You can imagine when Christ came, he exhibited that very purpose. He showed us how to, conceive, live within our purpose and execute it, and then, live. Because everybody's going to live. So that's why the first thing we have to learn is humility. Because when you are humble, then you can allow your spirit to work. When you are humble, you can now, internalize, understand things. You can learn, you can adapt, and then you can improve. That will enable you to carry out your vision. That will enable you to carry out the purpose for which God has, chosen you. Because if you're not humble, then you'll be distracted. If you're not humble, it's easy for the devil to suck out the fruit God has left inside of you. So humility, gives you the opportunities to survive and to adapt to circumstances and challenges, that you'll be facing. Because of course you're gonna face challenges, and these challenges are meant to prepare you. They are meant to equip you. They are meant to supply all the things you need. For instance, the universe, is gifted, is permitted to train you, to prepare you for all the purpose for which God has given to you. So everything is on your side. Time is on your side. The universe is on your side. So what is your problem? The problem is that you've chosen not to think. You've chosen not to reflect. You've chosen not to ask yourself a question. Because when you ask yourself a question, then it will force you to think. And from there, you can now align with the universe in order to, produce your fruit, in order to carry out your mission, in order to fulfill your vision. Because these things are very, very important. Because the universe will help you. The universe will help you, prepare you, equip you, strengthen you, give you the streetwise knowledge. So that you won't be manipulated, so that you won't be deceived, so that you won't be distracted. Because a lot of our problems come in form of distraction. Doing what is good instead of doing what is right. We think we are doing good, but we don't know that we are not doing the right thing. We don't know the difference between good and right. Most of us, what we do is good, but that is not the right thing. Because God believes in doing the right thing. The right thing is, for instance, following a process. We don't like to follow a process. We forgot that if we don't follow a process, then it becomes difficult for us to get the tacit knowledge. The process is much more important than even the result, because without the process, you can't get the right result. The result does not empower you. Imagine God would have commanded and everything will happen, but he himself, the owner of the universe, he followed the process. He allowed Jesus Christ to be born like a human being. He was carried in the womb for 9 months. He would have made it without him going through the womb, without him growing up, without him, going in the streets of Jerusalem and in the streets of Nazareth. So the process is essential, but we don't like the process. But we forgot that if you don't go through the process, you've lost big time. You've lost the tacit knowledge which will sustain you in time of difficulty, which will sustain you in time of crisis, which will sustain you in time of testing, because you have to be tested. For whatever you're going to be achieving, whatever you want to embark on, you'll be tested on that. To know if what you're saying, you actually mean it. You actually believe it. Whether you properly understood what you are meant to achieve. So that is why you have to go through a process. But we don't want to go through a process. And in that process, we lose the tacit knowledge, which is the most important thing. Because, like I always said, one man was coaching another person. He was telling him, I want you to be a millionaire. The man said, yeah, the person that's being coached said, oh, I know why, so that I can make money. The man says, it's not that. I want you to acquire the knowledge, not the money. Because once you have the knowledge, money is guaranteed. But if you have the money, you don't have the tacit knowledge. The money, fades. The money develops wings and disappears. So that is the importance of tacit knowledge. That is the importance of humility. The first thing God does is to demonstrate to us how to be humble. The next one is faithfulness. For you to follow, they say whoever comes to God must believe that God exists. Because if you don't believe it, it will never happen. It's the belief. Believing means being faithful. Believing means the consistency in it. If you don't believe it, there's no way. That is why we can acquire as much degree as we like, but we cannot do anything with it. If you like, become a professor. It doesn't make any difference. You still be who you are unless you have that deep knowledge, understanding of what faithfulness means. So if you are not faithful to what you are doing, if you are not committed to that, there's no way you can do it. You will have you have money with you, you have the teacher with you, you have everything, but you will never execute that thing. That is what we're experiencing in Nigeria today. We have professors, we have educated people, we have first-class people, but we don't have the tacit knowledge to do anything. We cannot embark on any project and finish it because we lack the knowledge, because we lack the tacit knowledge. We didn't acquire it through process. And besides, we're not faithful in what we're doing. Faithful means you have to be consistent. You have to believe it. You have to be consistent over it. You have to keep on doing it. It involves sacrifice. Nature also teaches us sacrifice. If you cannot sacrifice something in order to get something, there's no way you can have it. Sacrifice is what nature equipped us with. Sacrifice is what nature is teaching us. For God to fulfill his word, he had to sacrifice himself. So if God could sacrifice himself, what of you? So you cannot execute, you cannot carry out your vision unless you're able to pay that price. Paying that price means denying yourself certain opportunities, denying yourself certain, pleasures, denying yourself sleep sometimes. That is a sacrifice. Sacrifice means denying yourself some holidays, some enjoyment, some food, some other things. That is a sacrifice. So, but the irony is that we don't want to deny ourselves even a 10-second sacrifice, and then we expect we get it. You can't get it that way. If we could get it, then God wouldn't have sent his son to go through the cross, to the Calvary. Even the seed that you plant in the soil had to deny itself, sacrifice itself in order to spring out from the soil. So what other thing you expect the nature to teach you? The second thing is love. Nature teaches us love. Because love is very, very important. Love is consistent. Love is permanent. Love is not, I love you today, tomorrow I don't love you. That is not how love is. Love is permanent. Love, if you love something, you dedicate yourself to it. If you love something, you get close to it. If I love you, I have to be close to you. Closing to you doesn't mean I have to rub shoulder with you, but I listen to you. I try to know what is inside your mind. I try to read you. That was why God loves David. Because David dedicated himself to come close to God. And that was how he was successful. That is why you cannot pass a day without mentioning the name of David. On David, God has built his stronghold. A kingdom that will last forever. You cannot destroy it. That name, no matter what you do. So, another thing we do is rising above your fears. Nature teaches us that you have to be bold and courageous in order to execute the vision God has given to you, because it's not going to be easy. It's not meant for faint-hearted. It's not meant for the weak mind. So, nature teaches us again to rise above our fears. So what are we afraid of? Have you forgotten that God is never afraid of anything? There's no fear in God. You possess God and yet you're afraid. Who told you to fear? It came from the devil. God said, I didn't give you the spirit of fear, but of sound mind, judgment, and love. So when you are afraid, you are dining with the devil. Why will you be afraid? Your father said you shouldn't be afraid, and you're afraid. That means you don't belong. There's no connection. Afraid of what? Afraid of dying. If you die, what happens? Everybody's going to die. So why are we afraid? We are even afraid of something that doesn't exist. The fear you are using to cause health problem to yourself does not exist. It's the figment of imagination. I always quote this thing. I said, Fela said, my people are afraid of their shadow. How can a man be afraid of his shadow? Does shadow kill? It doesn't kill. Yet, shadow rules us. Yet, we allow fear to control us. Yet we allow fear to manipulate us and put us into early grave. Yet, fear makes us not to carry out that purpose for which God has sent us to do here. Fear makes us not, maybe fear of, I'll be hungry tomorrow. Because of that, I tell lies. Because of that, I cannot say the truth. Because we've forgotten that what redeems the world is the truth. We've forgotten that if you bury the truth 100% will rise. So what are you afraid of? God has made you fearless. God has given you spirit of boldness. Because without courage, you cannot execute your vision. You know, the people you are fearing, they are like, they are like mirage. They don't exist. You create them. And then that fear, overwhelms you. Because I'm doing video about God, therefore my friends I'll lose my friends. Well, my friends can as well go. Because my friends are not part, they are not part of my vision. That's why they have to leave. I can't just because of my friends or because of my wife or because of my children, I will not sustain the truth God left inside of me. Because I know my what and I know your what also. So we can't just because of what we want to eat or the position and we will deny God. Because not saying the truth is denying God. Not saying the truth is like the worst thing we can do to ourselves. So, what causes is fear. What makes us to kill our brother is fear. What makes us to rob our brother is fear. What makes us to be jealous is fear. What makes us to take what does not belong is fear. Because you think you don't have it. But I'm here to tell you that everything you need, you already have it. Remember, God is not a man. Once he says he has given you something, he has given it to you. And the principle of love demands God to give us fully himself. And God has given himself fully to you. But because you don't believe it, because you don't walk your way up, then you think you don't have it. You already possess God. You are already God. God has made you God, has given you himself. Christ came and showed us how to become God. He demonstrated it to us. He lived that life. He lived a life of integrity. Showed us how to do things. Yet, we can't see. We can't hear. Because we are not humble. We don't allow knowledge to flow through us. We block our mind and think we are deceiving other people. Look at the killings that are going on in Gaza today. The people, IGF does not know they are killing themselves by killing the Palestinians. If you kill a human being, you kill yourself 10 times. So how long are we going to tell you these things? That if you hold one man and in one island captive, you held yourself and the whole generation in captivity. Look at yourself in the mirror. The mirror tells you everything you got to know about yourself. The mirror summarizes us. We are the reflection of our attitude. If what you see in the mirror is not good, you change it. You change your face. Like now, if I look at the mirror, then what I'm not seeing, if there's something in my mouth, then for me to clear it, I have to clear it. Immediately I clear it, you see that it reflects in the mirror. So what we're seeing in the world is today is because we are, hydra-hearted. Our mind is so stiff that we don't want to accept God. We reject God full time. But you forgot that there is no way earth can rule heaven. It's not possible. There is no way human being can rule God. It's not possible. If you like, acquire the whole arms in the whole world, dig the whole trenches, there is no way a man can rule over God. Earth cannot be in control of the heaven. So no matter what you do, you are not going to change what God has planted. If you want to doubt it, look at the history. Check the history. We only repeat the bad history. That is what we are doing. The killing we're having in Israel today and in Palestine is the same thing 5,000 years, repeating everything. The one we're seeing in Russia and Ukraine is the same war we've been seeing. The Romans conquering, causing confusion, the same thing that's happening. So what is new is because we don't understand. Because we refuse to understand. A man will abuse his wife, thinking he's abusing his wife, not abusing himself. You suppress your own wife, not knowing you're suppressing yourself. You imprison your own wife, you don't know you're imprisoning yourself. You kill your children, you don't know you're killing yourself. I wish we are smarter. We will begin to understand that if you punch the wall, you're punching yourself. If you punch another man, you punch yourself 7 times. So why are we not seeing the connection in this sense? Why can't we see the connection, the relationship between one person and another person? Why is this so hard? Because we doubt ourselves, because we don't believe, because we are cynical in thinking. So nature provides us all these things. So I've talked about nature encourages us to have deep commitment. Not even commitment, deep commitment. If it's not deep enough, the wind will blow it away. So all these things are what we have. We have everything. We have the whole knowledge. We have the whole institution. We have everything. Yet we block our mind from things of God. We don't seem to understand. We don't pay attention. We don't ask God to help us. Your spirit is meant to control your body, not your body controlling your spirit. God wants us to allow His spirit in us to control our flesh, control our body, control our mind. there is a constant battle in our mind. The spirit wants to control, the body wants to control. These things are clashing. But you have to use your intellectual power to decide, to make that decision, and allow the Spirit of God that is silent inside of you to speak up, to take control of your body. But what do? We allow that body to dictate for us. In the end, we lost the plot. So, I don't know how somebody who is gifted, who has the same power God has, would end up in this kind of dysfunctional society and in disarray as we're seeing in the world today. It's because we don't want to think. It's because we are cynical. It's because we think God is a liar like us. We think that God will not give us what he has promised. God's word is permanent. It's unchanging. So, I'm now summarizing. The purpose today, what I'm saying today is about purpose. The purpose is that you are the idea that God has released that nobody can stop. An idea is something nobody can stop. You are that very idea. God has released you to do something special, to do something unique, best fitted for your purpose, best fitted for you. You are prepared to do these things before the creation of the world. And yet, coming here, you forgot yourself. You don't remember anymore. You end up being a drunk. You end up being somebody who lost, their mind. What a shameful thing. So, the only person who can stop you is yourself. There is nobody can stop you from carrying out the vision of God except yourself. Don't blame another person, blame yourself.